race series. This track is 2.28 miles around, has 17 turns on it. You got a couple great passing areas, especially if you get good runs out of the turn 8. You can pass before you hit that I don't know, bus stop that's down there at turn 11. Typically get a good pass in there and be more than side by side with the car next to you. That way it's not too risky in there. You don't want to go too wide through there, so someone's going to have to yield depending on where you're at on the track. Then turn 12 through turn 16, opportunity not only for the draft but the pass into there. If you can get at the inside line, you definitely will be slower going too wide through there, but it can be done, and there's a good opportunity for passing there. Going into turns like 3, 4, 5, 6, you'll see a lot of aggressive drivers putting noses in there. Um, it's legitimate areas that you can pass, obviously, anywhere on the track. However, if you are trying to chase or stay in contact with a group in front of you, that is significantly slower, and you probably lose contact with them. So unless you're faster and can catch them, you're hurting yourself and the car in front of you if you put your nose in there and get them all kind of offline and everything on there, or you'll get an incident and go, just wreck out, which you don't want to do. Join us Sunday night Skippy League. We race every Sunday night. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We start at 8. We have a 1 hour practice followed by a 15-minute open qual and a 40-minute race with one mandatory pit stop because you've got to get more fuel. Um, it's a championship series that we're running. We got some great top Skippy drivers in that league, and we go all the way down to some fairly new drivers in there. So we have all skill levels. There's a place to race throughout the field. Just for finishing races, you get some bonus points, and it's a good group. Everyone's very respectful of the Skippy space. You don't get the dive bombs and everything else you get typically during the public sessions throughout the week. Uh, this weather settings for this. This is just a practice. I had the dynamic weather turned on. It was an open public practice that I hosted. The weather was 82 degrees on the air temperature. Track temperature was 87. So that's 82 air, which is 27.77 Celsius, and 87 track, which was 30.55 Celsius on the track. Winds west 13 miles per hour. I still haven't paid enough attention to the winds to see how they actually affect the car. I usually just get in it and drive it. Especially when we're racing, everyone has the same wind on there. I'm not really doing time trialing to see how fast I can go through and go on there. In this session, like I said, it was a public hosted session that I had. I ran a 139.7. I think my optimal time is a 130.45. It's hard for me. I'm just not consistent enough this week to push it. You really got to be on kind of the edge to get those top times in there. Not sure how it will stack up throughout the week as everyone gets faster. So take it what it is, but it gives you some opportunity to kind of see through here of how I go about running the track. Setup, there's not really any difference. I think I got this as Barcelona. It's probably the same setup that I've been using. I did mess with the anti-roll bar. I think I ended up with a 8 on it. Not that I necessarily saw a huge difference between the two. I think I just ended up with an 8, going with the anti-roll bar setting of 8 on there. All right, so let's go to the track tutorial. I did add, based on requests and suggestions, so everyone wanted to see what gear I was in. So I've got in the bottom right, I've got the gear selection that I'm in. That's coming from iSpeed. iSpeed's a free app you can download that collects your data, and then you can analyze it and compare it to others. I upload my stuff on there. You can see my data, where I brake, everything else. You can see all the details right there in iSpeed. Like I said, it's free. I do not run it. I do not get sponsored by it. It's just a great tool that's out there. I know a lot of people use VRS. I found VRS as a good tool as well. I'm just so familiar with iSpeed. I can really find those last hundredths and tenths of a second easy in iSpeed, and it's a little bit more difficult for me to see those in the VRS system. So we'll go ahead and go through the lap in a chase mode and let you see what it looks like with no comments, then I'll come back and I'll walk you through it. All right, so that's a lap from the chase view. We'll go ahead and go into the cockpit, and I'll kind of walk you around some of the things that I look at as we go around the track. Again, in the bottom right-hand corner, you should be able to see my gear selection. You can kind of see which gears I am. I won't really talk about those. I'll kind of talk about where I'm looking at for braking and what I'm trying to do with the car a little bit here. So let me come up through here. Give me 1 second here. And I'm going to make one adjustment here. All right. So coming here to stay off to the right, I'm coming up here. I'm looking at that one marker. You can see my turn in is kind of a little bit sooner just because of the turn of the track. But as you get that turn in and then you start to brake right around that one marker, you'll start to get a little bit of rotation. You'll see me counter steer slightly on here. Um, yeah, I'm going to leave that up so you can see it. So you see the brake is coming in. I'm getting off the gas right before the one. I'm getting into the brake just slightly. The car starts to get some rotation on it. You see myself, I counter steer just a little bit, and then I'm going to come pretty quickly right back onto the gas here. I'm going to come down here. I'm full throttle again, as you can see right when I cross this black line here. I'm going full throttle. I'm applying the throttle, getting up to full throttle, hitting that inside curb just a little bit, and then tracking all the way out to the right and just unwinding the wheel as much as I can to not scrub speed out here. You're gonna come out, and my second turn in is right after I say the wheels still turn, but my second turn is kind of right after that green light up on the right. Come in here. You're gonna track all the way out to the right over here. If you turn in too early here, you'll end up tracking out, especially early when your tires are cold still. You'll end up tracking out and potentially hitting that outside wall. I know because I did it a whole bunch of times when I was trying to get a good lap in here. You want to cut back to the left as much as you can, not too far though. If you get too far back to the left, this is where people will kind of dive bomb you on the right hand side. They'll put their nose in there. It just slows both of you down. So you got to be a little protective of it. But for fast lap times, get back as far as you can without scrubbing too much speed. You can see I touch the brakes just a little bit. I'm getting off the throttle just a little bit right after this little side road entry here. I come off the throttle a little bit, and then I'm just barely touch the brakes, and then back a little bit of maintenance throttle, coming down, and then I'll track all the way to the left. If you get into the paint, I find it a little bit slick out there. So it's one of the things where it's like as soon as you get out here, your next turn in is started. You can see I brush the brakes again a little bit more than I think my optimal sector time had for this. In fact, when my tires were completely warm, I was able to just do this all throttle with no brake if I got the perfect line. I just couldn't do. I couldn't repeat it, so I didn't get that much. You do want to get down here all the way. You can see how quickly I'm all the way back on full throttle. I'm all the way back on full throttle, way out here. Get the car in here. You get a good compression of the suspension, and the tires really stick right there in the bottom of that. And then you're going to track all the way out to the left. Don't get your tires too far in the grass. You can barely touch the grass and not get a 1x. So you just want to go out there as far as you can. Keep the car speed up and continue down here. You're going to stay off to the left. You turn in. You can see I've got a little bit of brake that comes in here. It's not until after this turn. I kind of get a little bit straight. I brake just slightly. I'm off the gas. And then I'm back on the gas full throttle again. You can see right as I apex. The apex is kind of what I'll say. It's kind of strange in here. As soon as I can see that blue on there, I'm getting back up onto that throttle again. I can see the blue come around. I've started applying that throttle. I'm going to track out all the way to the left. See how far I get out there. I touch the grass just a little bit. I get off the throttle a little bit in here right as I come over. You can see I start lifting slightly in here, come up, get abruptly off of it, which gives me just a little bit of rotation. Then I start applying that throttle again, almost full throttle, and then full throttle right when I pass the edge of that wall there. Unwind the wheel as quickly as you can and track up all the way to the right, and then just kind of drop back down right to the blue line. You want to minimize the distance that you're driving. So you want to get down there fairly quick. You also don't want people to get down there on you. Here you're coming down. I'm looking for this 2 marker. As soon as I get to that 2 marker, I'm coming off the gas and getting on that brake heavy. You'll see I'm getting off that gas right there just before that 2 marker, getting on the brake, downshifting, coming down, getting the rotation of the car, and watch how much curb you take on this. It's amazing how much faster you are if you get this massive amount of curb on the left. It also doesn't tend to damage the car, whereas if you get on the right-hander right after this, which is I don't know if you want to call it turn 12, where you're turning back over there. If you get too much of your right hand on the curb, you will break things. So you can see I'm getting a whole bunch of car on that. I'm going to go back to the far chase so you can see. I mean, my car is all the way on that curb right there, and then I'm coming in, I'm turning. As soon as my tires get off of this curb, I'm starting my turn back to the right. Actually, I guess I'm turning even before that. So I'm turning in and I'm starting my turn right before the tires get back on the asphalt, and then I'm starting to apply the throttle and go in full throttle as soon as I hit that second curb. If you get too much of this curb right here, if you get any more probably than what I have right now, you potentially will damage wing, rip a wheel off, all sorts of bad things. But we'll go back and look at this again. Again, it's one of the things, you're way off to the right. I could have been a little bit further to the right, but I start getting the car heavy brake, get some rotation, get a bunch of curb there, full throttle, and track all the way out. And your track out is all the way to here. It's all the way in here. You're going to get that blue line, go across it, and then come right back up to here. You'll come right onto this blue line and shoot all the way around. Again, stay low in here. Stay low all the way around this. And this one's a little bit tricky because there's not a lot of markers on here. What I'm looking for when I come through here is, I know I'm entering this corner just to the left of this mark here, and I know that essentially, like, as I enter here, I'm putting my nose to go right down this blue line right here at the where it sticks out the furthest, and right before my tires get onto that blue line, I am starting to apply the brakes. So you'll see I'm full throttle still, and then boom, as soon as that tire gets on that blue line, I'm starting to apply the brakes, and it's not for very long. It's just enough to slow down, and then as soon as I get off of that and start my turn in, which is, it's kind of where it naturally curves back to the left, where I start my turn in, I'm still a little slightly on the brakes, and then you start applying the throttle as your car is sliding to get that back end to kind of stick, and then you're going to turn counter turn right back to that next turn. So you're coming in right, wheel still turn to the right, and you'll watch it shoot over to the left here really quick. And I'm going to track all the way out to the right, and you'll see a little bit of a counter steer that occurs right in here as I come through here. So turn left, I'm going to counter steer to the right just a little bit, just to catch the car all the way up on the before you hit the wall up there. Um, and that's one lap around here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it helps you find some of the time that's in there. A lot of time is in that first turn, that we're seeing right here where you turn in here, you can go a lot faster. It's amazing how much grip you have in that turn. It really is crazy. And then coming around to 11 and 12 on that back stretch, if you get a whole lot of that first curb, it makes that second curb a whole lot easier to negotiate, and you can carry a lot of speed out of there. Uh, the hardest thing about this track is just consistency uh, in getting through. Really, like for me, it's at least the turns 3 and 4, hard to stay consistent through those. I think that just as of right now, depending on tire temperature and everything, it really, the car just feels different almost every time I go through that. It's like didn't have as much grip, and then I have a little bit more, and have a little bit more, and then at the end, it's finally you get a significant more grip in there. The other place you get a whole lot of speed difference that you can see, especially when I was running this in this hosted session, was coming out of or coming into or out of 7, I guess it is, and into 8. A lot of people over slow on there. You can really shoot up the top of that towards the wall, and unwind the wheel fast, go all the way up to the edge of that wall, and then slowly come back down. You'll pick up a significant amount of time there because it is a very long stretch there. Then obviously 11, 12, getting out of there is, it's very important to get out of there fairly quickly, carrying as much speed as possible. And you can be a little bit slower through those when you have traffic, and you can maintain the draft, and you'll be okay. But if you want to be able to gap someone, you obviously need to be able to, and you don't have anyone to draft behind. You need to be able to get through that pretty fast. So hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. If you have anything that you want to, any comments or anything, feel free to leave them. Also visit www.2labsracing.com. Got a couple articles up there. I haven't added any in the last couple of weeks here, but there are some great articles on, it's kind of what I've gone through for trying to get faster and faster in the car, and some great articles on, brake modulation, which is the secret, I really think, to nailing the last second or so off your lap times, is really getting brake modulation down and feeling how that car slides, and managing the weight, front, rear weight of the car as you go in and through the corners and come out of them. So take a look at that. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great week racing, and hopefully I'll see you guys out there. And don't forget Sunday Night Race League, Sunday Night Skippies. Get on there. You can apply for the league. We're just looking for safe drivers that have experience in the Skippy. We do have some minimal times. The minimal times are not going to be too crazy. This one might. I have no idea what it's going to be this week. Say 134-ish, probably, maybe even a 135 in there. Is what we ask for the minimal time. We just want to show people that we want people that are racing with us that have put the time in to be quick and be safe on the track. And like I said, you'll have people that are running probably all the way from that minimal time all the way up to some of what we'll call the alien times that are out there. We got a lot of really fast guys that are in there, and it's like I said, very respectful racing. Come join us. Thank you.